Fáilte over Culture, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the programme. Just to remind you, later on we're crossing over to Manchester once again to join Martin Logan, who's out and about with the Irish community right across the UK. This week we're in the picturesque village of Mulranny, home place of one of the most popular ballad groups ever to hail from the west of Ireland, the Mulloy Brothers, Tom, Pat, Martin and Michael. And for over 50 years they've entertained audiences both at home and abroad. And recently, of course, their band's charismatic leader, Tom Mulloy, passed away. And this is our tribute to him.
Well, came to Ireland long ago. He didn't shed a drop of blood, you know. All the people started grieving when they heard that he was leaving. If I knew a bigger lie, I'd tell you so. Sing it right for Toodaloo, Toodaloo. There's no one who can quote the woman like me. And you can search until you tire, you won't find a bigger liar. I've been lying since the dawn of history.
But you're the eldest in the family.
Yes, I'm the oldest. Next in line I've got a sister, Elizabeth, and the youngest brother is Thomas. So I started playing with the Mulloys when I was 14 or 15, I think, yeah. With Pat and Martin and Mick around all the time. It was like having four dads. They were always around. There was always craziness and noise, and everywhere you went people would always recognise you or say, you know, you're one of the Mulloys, and we always asked questions. It was quite you know, I was proud, really, to be honest.
And can you remember some of those early days, and what was it like, some of the stories?
The early days, I don't remember a lot of it when I was a kid. Like, I remember the stuff when I'd go off gigging with them and that, you know, we would, I mean, I was 15 years of age and I was touring America and England. I was just a schoolboy. So it was very rock and roll stuff. But it was a really great time.
Here's some rare footage of Enda playing with his father Tom, his uncles Pat, Michael and Martin in the local pipe band at a festival in Mulranny.
Tom was the oldest. And then I came along then, and Michael and Martin. And Thomas played the accordion and sang. And I had the harmonica. That's the first two instruments we had, was a harmonica and an accordion. Yes. So later on then I Michael played the whistle and Martin the banjo. We bought a banjo in Galway. And then Corrigans came to Mulranny, Tommy Corrigans from Tullergee. And they came from Dublin. And they bought the pub there of Sweeney's. And they started singing lounge. So we started in there. That'd be about 1965, I suppose.
Following their success in Corrigan's Singing Lounge, the boys were invited to perform across the road, which was then called Daly's Lounge and now McLaughlin's. The proprietor at the time was John Daly.
But you know, obviously they were all in their 30s, early 30s, younger than that at the time, and it was an unbelievable occasion for us to have gone up with these lads and see them over there. There was a stage down in the corner, and yeah, it was a great occasion. The midsummer place packed, you know, relations back from America and everything. It was a different year, I suppose, but fabulous night, yeah. In their early years playing, they wore the white Bonine sweaters that the Clancys made famous, and I'm sure they were very warm some nights when the place was packed. But yeah, that was their thing, the Clancys, and then maybe the Dubliners a little bit more later on, and then some Wolf Tone stuff thrown in, you know. But yeah, Clancys was their start, I suppose.
In 2016, following another successful night in McLaughlin's bar in Mulranny, I caught up with Tom Mulloy.
Yeah, we played the ballads all our life. We've played the ballads since we were that size. Yeah, we were.
But Tom, you always get a tremendous crowd here. You pack this venue every Monday night.
Yeah, every Monday night we have a fine, big crowd here every Monday night, all them years. And even the young crowd loves coming here on a Monday night.
Another popular venue where the Mulloy Brothers played for many years was the Porterhouse in Westport. And here's the proprietor, Joe O'Malley.
No matter what type of a day you were having, and whether it was a good day or a bad day, if you met Tom Mulloy, no matter where you met him, whether it was on the street or whether it was in the pub or whether he was playing music, he always lifted you. He had just something, he was always in good form. He was always a happy-go-lucky type of guy, and he'd stand up in the street, he'd talk to you, he had time for everyone. Tom had time for everyone, and I just thought he brought a great sparkle with him and no matter where you met him. Like, I could be in Castlebar and something, I'd hear someone roaring at me across the road, and it'd be Tom waving, "How are you, Joe? How are you, Joe? How was things that Porterhouse?" And he'd be roaring, and that'd be the fun with him. Like, he was always a good character.
In 2008, we were named as the best music bar in Ireland, and again, the judges could well have been here on the night when the Mulloy Brothers were playing, because we don't know what night they were here. And the judges came in anyway, and we were nominated and are going to Dublin. And sure, we were up against some of the biggest music bars in Ireland, like and the little Porterhouse from Dublin, from Westport going up. But we were named best music bar anyway, and we were so delighted. And we were coming back the next day on the train, and sure, we got around at the top of the street, and next of all, Tom and the boys are outside playing songs like the red carpet and a bit of champagne, and sure, we had the mightiest night, I think, ever.
As the Mulloy Brothers became more popular up and down the country, it was only a matter of time before offers came in to tour the UK. They played in places such as Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds and of course London, where entertainer Seamus Moore recalls his first meeting with Tom Mulloy.
Well, I would say the first time ever I met Tom Mulloy was back. I was running a bar in Cricklewood in 1976-82, and I used to bring bands over from Ireland on a regular basis at that time, and one of the bands I brought over was the Mulloy Brothers. Never met them before in my life, and they were over for the weekend, playing in my bar for the weekend. So Thursday morning arrived, and early morning a knock came on the door, and there was a big 52-seater bus outside the door. I was wondering what this was. So, Seamus Moore, he says to me, he says, "We're the Mulloy Brothers." So we said to come in, Tom, in the band, and not only did he have the band, he had a whole 52-seater bus with him, and they stayed there the whole weekend drinking. I never had a weekend like it. That was my first memory of Tom Mulloy. I think they missed the boat actually on Monday evening going back. What a character he was, and a great friend of mine since that time.
Following numerous successful tours, both at home and abroad, the Mulloy Brothers found time to go into the studio to record their first ever album entitled The Coastline of Mayo. And here's a popular song from it called Nancy Spain.
On a day in spring, when snows start to melt and streams to flow, and little birds they'll
Tom Mulloy and the Mulloy Brothers always look forward to the festival season, and one of their particular favourite festivals is always the Shimsha Shoija in Swinford, where they're played outside Malloy's Emporium every August.
Welcome to yourself and iMayo TV to Malloy's Emporium, which has been here for nearly 225 years. Well, Tom is in distinguished company over there on the wall with Margaret Barry and Paddy Joe Ty. Well, I would have known Tom many years from going, I suppose, to weddings and functions in Mulranny. And he'd say, "How are they all in Swinford? I must come over someday." So we started the tent about 10 years ago. Tom was the opening act, and he was there every year since. It was people came from far and wide to see Tom. It was testament to his broad appeal, his worldwide appeal, that people would be sitting in their seats for a long time before the music even started. They were unique because they played the sort of songs that reminded people of the past, and people who were down and sad and that would suddenly light up with a smile on their face, and that's fantastic. It was really a privilege to see that happen. Well, Tom, of course, when I would have met Tom here in the tent 10 years ago there, I was wondering what was his reaction to it. And he said, "We had a fabulous day." And I said, "Tom, any chance of you coming back next year?" And he would finish with, "Astronaut or extronaut, we're coming back." Yeah. And it was fantastic to hear that. He was so easy to deal with. As I say, he was a grand guy. People loved him. I thought he was the most fantastic character, And there's a word out there called epitome, which is a person who was the perfect example of a particular style. That was Tom Mulloy.
And what better way to finish with than the boys in action here, the Mulloy Brothers, singing one of your own favourite songs at the festival?
Well, I think The Homes of Donegal is a fine song to go out, and I hope people will join in and sing along with Tom Mulloy.
Come into view, I see my home now, soon I'll see you. This is my home, the place I was born. No matter where I roam, it's in my soul. My feet may wander 1,000 places.
Over the next couple of years, the Mulloy Brothers enjoyed tremendous success both at home and abroad, even playing such luxurious venues as Dromoland Castle and Ashford Castle. Then sadly, in February 2007, Michael Malloy sadly died following a short illness. 3 years later, in May 2010, following a tragic boating accident, Martin Malloy passed away. The remaining brothers Tom and Pat decided to continue performing in their memory. Join us in part 2.
Far away from Mayo, beneath an Irish sky, take me home to Mayo, across the Irish Sea, home to dear old Mayo, where once I roamed so free. Take me home to Mayo, there let my body lie, home at last to Mayo, beneath an Irish sky.
Fáilte, you're very welcome back to part 2 of the programme. While Nathan's Bar and Restaurant in Tirnar along the Wild Atlantic Way is renowned for its food and hospitality, and indeed the Thursday night music sessions with the Mulloy Brothers proved very, very popular.
My first recollection of the Mulloy Brothers was back in the 60s. Played in local venues around here, mainly Corrigan's and Mulranny, some of the other local bars. They also played quite a number of times down my uncle's pub down Nelly Bay in Balmullet called Danny's, whose name was owned by my late uncle John Avon as well.
That was during the 60s.
That was 1968 when he owned the pub, but the Mulloy Brothers would have played there regularly. And then for my mum and dad, they play here at different times as well. And I took over the business in 2001, and I did hire the Mulloys in that night to do the opening night. And we're delighted with that because they like that kind of being local and being involved, especially in the opening of a new pub. One night Tom came to me and he says, you know, it's very quiet. I said, it is, Tom. I said, we might give it a break now for a while because you know, it's winter time and the last. So that was fine. So we went our separate ways for a while, and we agreed we'd come back at a later point in time, maybe a few months down the road when it got busier. But the following Thursday night, I got a phone call at home to say from one of the guys in the bar, you know, where's the music? Well, I says, didn't we stop it last week? Because, you know, obviously it's getting quiet and whatever. Well, the place is full here and they're looking for music. So I rang Tom and I told him the situation. He says, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And there he was. So I didn't cancel him again. Yeah. Fair play to Pat Mulloy, he's continuing with it, and it's great to see it that he's continuing the Thursday nights for us and different other venues as well. And it's just nice to see that the name is kept alive and the band is kept alive. It's very important, I think, for the area as well.
Yeah. Apart from music, Tom's two other great loves were golf, where he was captain of the Mulranny Golf Club, and football, where he helped establish Mulranny United Football Club. And for his services, he was awarded a Hall of Fame award in January 2017. And here he is making his acceptance speech.
Do you know what? I feel like Donald Trump tonight. And this award goes to all the Mulranny Club and the committee, and Lorraine, of course Lorraine, and Adrian, the manager, and to everybody here. I remember when we started the club, 30 years ago, myself and Dave Gildy and PJ Frank, we went up and we stood in front of the committee above in my bush, and they said to us, "Have ye any money?" I said, "We have no money." Well, there was 2 clubs interviewed already this evening. One club had 3,000 in their bank account and the other had 5,000 in their bank account. And well, I said, the best thing for you to do now, go home and have a few raffles and raise a few pounds, and then come back next year. And I said, you cannot raise money for a club that's not started. And you know what? Pat Quigley wrote to me the following 2 weeks later, and he says, "Right, lads, you're on." Thank you very much.
In June 2015, the Mulloy Brothers celebrated 50 years in showbiz and marked the occasion with a gala concert in the Mulranny Park Hotel. People travelled from all over the world to join in the celebrations.
They celebrated their 50 years of music with us in 2015 here, and literally the hotel couldn't take any more people. It was that popular. Everyone came to celebrate 50 years of music, which is an incredible achievement for them, and something they're very proud of, I'm sure. We had all the rooms full that night. The hotel was to capacity, and it was a great celebration of their 50 years in music for themselves, and obviously for Enda, his son as well. We came over and played with his band, and it was a night that I guess rocked the hotel was the best way of describing it, because it was a fantastic night, and everybody was here, and Michael Ring was here, and Enda Kenny was here, and people from all over the world came to celebrate 50 years with the Mulloy's brother, and it was a special occasion for sure. And of course for Tom, many people come and share their stories and their memories of Tom. And my own personal favourite is when he was asked by Enda Kenny to accompany him to the White House to meet Barack Obama on St. Patrick's Day, and he told him there was no way he could go because he was booked in Mulranny that evening, and there's the Mulranny Park Hotel to play with us, and that just sums up Tom, his humour, and the great memories we'll have of him here in the hotel.
Well, it was such a memorable night, we thought it'd be nice to show you some images from that great occasion.
It's when I'm drinking, I'm always thinking how to gain my love's company. And when he came to the truth of 20, he knelt down gently upon the stone, and through her window he whispered lowly, "It's my true lover within."
Tom was very much at the heart and soul of the group, I think, as well. And I had the great privilege of getting to know them very, very well. They were great Mayo people. They loved the county with a huge passion. And the Mayos loved to see them coming to London, especially, and other places in England where they were very, very popular. They were brought up in the ballad era, the ballad boom, and they probably were the last of the real troubadours of that entire scene in the county. They loved what they did, and people loved them. And they continued right up to the Swinford, the Heritage Day in Swinford every year. That's where I actually used to get to see them mostly in recent years. And Tommy, when they'd see you, straight a big shout out over the microphone, and everybody felt part of it. They had a wonderful way with the crowd. They were very, very special, and you know their song, "The Coastline of Mayo," it says it all. That will forever be associated with Tom, because Tom was lead singer on that. You know, Clare Island, home of Grania Whale, old Newport well I know. The friendly little places on the coastline of Mayo. God rest you, Tom Mulloy.
What's your lasting memory of him?
Oh God, he was just my best friend, you know. He was always there for me, no matter what you did wrong, which, let's face it, I did a lot. You know, the next he say it to you, and the next it was forgotten about. Right, that's parked. You know, he'd always encourage you to be better. You know, in music, in life, whatever. That's my lasting memory.
And what better way to finish the programme than the Bible Quote Sundays, joined by many other artists in the London scene, to finish our programme with their tribute to the late Tom Mulloy, The Coastline of Mayo. We hope you enjoyed the programme, and I look forward to your company next week at the same time. So until then, slán go fóill.
In my search of fame and fortune, I've travelled many's a mile beyond the blue horizon that's been calling all the while.
I've seen all kinds of grandeur, but I'm longing still I know
for the little friendly places round the coastline of Mayo. Well, Mullet and Broadhaven, Ackle and Lord Way, Gro Patrick's old mountain by the waters of Blue Bay, their island home of Cromwell, all Newport well I know, all the little friendly places round the coastline of Mayo. However far I travel, there's one place best of all. For to be again in Westport town is a wish I often call.
if that wish cannot be given, then God grant me as I go.
One last look on heaven's basement round the coastline of Mayo. And Mullet and Broadhaven, Ackle and Norway, Gro Patrick's holy mountain by the waters of Blue Bay, their islands of Cromwell, all Newport well I know, all the little friendly places round the coastline of Mayo. Christmas time is coming, and we'll miss you here at home. They won't hear your voice this year, everywhere you so roam, and we'll take your music with us everywhere we go. There's a part of you in every place from the coastline of Mayo. And Mullet and Broadhaven, Ackle and Norway, Gro Patrick's holy mountain by the waters of Blue Bay, their island home of Cromwell, all Newport well I know, all the little friendly places round the coastline of Mayo, all the little friendly places round the coastline of Mayo.
Do you know what? I feel like Donald Trump tonight. And this award goes to all the Mulranny club and the committee, and Lorraine, of course Lorraine, and Adrian, the manager, and to everybody here. Right, lads, you're on. Thank you very much.